with Chris Cuomo being suspended indefinitely by CNN. Let me start here. Were you surprised that they actually did something?
Yes, because it's been so long, right? I mean, I think he probably should have been suspended, or he should have taken himself off the air at the very beginning of the Cuomo scandals, right? Instead, he hosted his brother on for weeks and weeks during the worst of the pandemic when thousands of New Yorkers were dying. And he continued to do his program. As those folks died, they were joking around about COVID tests, and the fact of the matter is no one could get COVID tests in nursing homes. They couldn't test incoming patients. So the thing that got my back up is seeing the Cuomo brothers comedy hour with the big Q-tip, right, on television, that they were joking around when the Q-tip was shoved up the governor's nose, and they thought it was hilarious. Meanwhile, body bags are being piled up outside of nursing homes. So I think he should have been off the air from the very beginning because he wasn't a journalist then.
We now know how really inappropriate that stuff on CNN was at that time, because not only was the scandal going on with the nursing homes, we also know now that the woman who tested Andrew Cuomo was one of the people who was uncomfortable with how she was being talked to as he was making inappropriate comments to her in front of an audience. And we know that Chris Cuomo and other family members were bumped up on the list to get priority VIP COVID tests when no one else could get them.
I'm glad you brought that up, Stu, because I think that's kind of the latest controversy, is that we don't know much about the VIP COVID tests. That has sort of been dropped from the investigations. And the Albany Times had an article out just yesterday about how we don't know about who got those VIP COVID tests when nursing homes couldn't get them, including Chris Cuomo. Basically, during those early times, they had to go out to Chris Cuomo's home in the Hamptons, put the thing up his nose, and then drive the cotton swab to a place in upstate New York using state facilities, troopers, cars, and taking those, state-funded resources and spending all of this time and money to give these COVID tests to his buddies, including some lawmakers. And I think that's why there's question marks as to who got these COVID tests when no one else could.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about that because they may have actually received them themselves. When it comes to the Chris Cuomo side of this, we know now that as this sort of controversy with the harassment allegations began, Chris Cuomo was advising his brother. He was very involved. He was asking to be involved in the prep. He was seemingly targeting at least one woman who made an accusation, who he called the wedding girl, that he had a lead on some inside information on her, that maybe she was put up to this claim and really didn't mean it. And these are the things that he specifically said on the air he was not doing, even after he got caught the first time. I just don't know what could CNN have done other than to pull him off the air. I mean, it's embarrassing not only to Chris Cuomo, but also to CNN generally.
Exactly. I mean, ethics, what happened to them? I think if this was anybody at Fox News, there would have been a complete outrage. Not only interviewing your brother on television during a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic and joking around, but then finding out that he actively tried to get information on these women that were accusing the governor of, inappropriate behavior, at the very least, assault at the very worst. And so we got all these text messages. Indeed, he was using his connections as well to find out about these women and going on television and pretending that he's a quote unquote journalist. So I think the heat got to them. I mean, every major publication yesterday was on to CNN saying, you have to do something. And they did. They suspended him until further notice. But I heard Brian Stelter said that he might be back in January. So, listen, a tap on. I mean, look at the other guy that they have on right now that was doing some really inappropriate stuff in front of coworkers.
I know. It is pretty amazing. Someone brought this up to me earlier today and said, well, I mean, they brought Jeffrey Toobin back on the air, and after all that he did, and for as bad as what Toobin did, at least it was unintentional, I think. This, what Chris Cuomo did is actively intentional, and not only did he do it intentionally behind the scenes to help his brother, he then went on television after they let him out of the first offense and went on television and specifically said he did not call sources on behalf of his brother, and he did not try to get any information on these women, both things we now know he did. I mean, is it arrogance? What is the cause of something like this?
I think both brothers have serious personality disorders. I really, truly do. I mean, I sort of joke around about it, but I think there has to be something about their personalities. I mean, if I was Chris Cuomo, I would have gone on television and apologized to the women. There's been no apology whatsoever. He's kind of making excuses just like his brother did, blaming everyone else for the problems that happened because of himself. He's the one to blame. He's the one that was actively trying to smear these women that are trying to come forward and doing the right thing. I mean, I feel so terrible for these women day after day. They are attacked by social media, and all they're trying to do is, tell their story so that this might not happen to other women. There's no doubt this guy was a creep. And it's about abuse of power when it comes right down to it, whether you're talking about the nursing homes, which I think which he should go to jail for, or, mistreating women. It's all abuse of power. And if you read all of the documents and all the text messages and all the emails, I mean, it's right there in black and white.
And another big part of this, and I want to get into where we should go from here, but DeRosa and as a party and his high-level aides were in on this every step of the way. And they seem to be getting a pass, I guess, just because, everyone knows Andrew Cuomo's a bad guy to work for, and he was probably yelling at them a lot, and therefore, what were they going to do, I guess is the argument here. But they were involved in all of this stuff. And, there are definitely moments in some of these text messages and communications where it seems like they're crossing legal lines that they should not be crossing.
DeRosa was his second in control that basically told Democratic lawmakers that she was actively hiding those numbers, the nursing home numbers, which is illegal. They were saying at least 50% less of the actual number of deaths in nursing homes had occurred for months and months. And the timeline is when he was trying to sell his $5.2 million book to make money off of our dead relatives. It's insane to me. She's just as bad as him, if not worse in a lot of ways. She was an accomplice in this. And I know that she's lawyered up. I don't know if she's going to see, he's supposed to be arrested in January for the assault. I really think that she needs to also be looked into as well. And these people need to be brought to judge and jury.
Janice, where does this go from here? Because I feel like there's a temptation now with Andrew Cuomo obviously gone from office, Chris Cuomo suspended indefinitely, whatever that means. There's, I think, a temptation to just say, okay, I guess this is over, right? But there's still so much we don't know. There's still a lot of information that has not been disclosed to the public. There's still a long way to go here. What's left on the table?
There's multiple investigations happening still, Stu, into the nursing homes, into the VIP COVID tests, into the covering up of the numbers, into the book, the $5.2 million book. He used state resources. We have proof of that as well, that he was using, his underlings to write this book. Melissa DeRosa basically turned the executive mansion into a publishing house. And that's against the law. Against the law of Andrew Cuomo as the leader of New York, using state resources to to basically pocket money, $5.2 million. It's crazy. So we still have those investigations underway. As I mentioned, the governor is supposed to be in upstate New York in Albany, I believe January the 6th. To get fingerprinted and arrested for the assault of one of the victims. So we do have a long way to go. Chris Cuomo is obviously in the news, and they'll watch that story if he comes back to CNN. He was on his program, on a Sirius XM program, so he hasn't been silenced. You know, he's still out there. It's just it. Listen, my goal is to continue to try to raise awareness that we need accountability. Resignation is not accountability. And I believe he resigned because he made a deal with lawmakers that were going to impeach him. And they said, basically, you need to resign or else we're going to impeach you. And there's always rumors that he's going to try to come back somehow. I just don't know how he does, because he doesn't really have any allies now, except for the two people you mentioned, Melissa DeRosa and that rich as a party guy.
Last one for you here, Janice. You not only have been a keen observer of the Cuomo family, but also you've been inside the media for a long time. What do you think happens with Chris Cuomo? Does he come back? Does he survive this somehow on CNN?
I have some pretty good sources that told me when he was suspended that they don't want him back. He is not well liked in the building. And I think that when Jeff Zucker is kind of has fingers pointing at him, he does not like that. So from what I hear, he's not going to come back, but I suppose anything is possible. I don't think he deserves to come back. I really don't. He, to me, is not worthy of a show or a title that has the name journalist in it.
Well, I, for one, am shocked he is not well liked in the building. He seems like such a nice guy, and I can't believe it. Janice Dean, senior meteorologist for Fox News, author of Make Your Own Sunshine, inspiring stories of people who find light in dark times. You can grab a few copies for your friends. A great holiday present for someone you love. Janice, thanks so much for coming on the program.
Anytime, my friend. And thank you to the Blaze for following the story from the very beginning. I am so grateful, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a voice.
Oh, same for you, Janice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from Blaze TV, with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.